Popular franchises like Resident Evil, Devil May Cry.
It's the Bibble. Oh god. Should we put this here?
Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of Venom and Spice. This podcast will be about current and past topics and discussing between the two with me. My name is VenomTie, and I make opinionated discussion videos about all-round types of content.
And my name is Clovve. I create music-related content on YouTube, and I also make art for people like musicians or for my Instagram and other stuff. For this first episode, we will be talking about the current lockdown and quarantine for the coronavirus, because, you know, it's a pandemic and everyone's affected, so we thought it would be cool to just compare and contrast the differences and similarities of the UK and the US, and to sort of share our experiences and whatnot.
So yeah, as I am a Brit in the absolutely tropical weather of Britain, we have hit lockdown very seriously. Maybe some people would argue not the best, and then some other people would argue even better than the US, but we won't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'll start off with when the lockdown originated in the UK in March. It was around the end of March, about like, let's say the 25th. So we, and I don't know if the same for the state, but we actually had laws in place. So if you broke any of these, you'd get fined. Some people were arrested if they would like argue with the police officer or whatever. And so an example of this is, we had like a main rule of you must stay inside unless A, you were a key worker, B, you needed to go buy food for yourself or like a loved one that was shielded, or if you had an emergency, so let's say you're having a heart attack. But yeah, so and obviously the British being the British, we completely objected these rules, and I'll show on screen right now some pictures of how people flaunted these rules.
Since fucking the US is so broad, like obviously every place is different.
Yeah, because like
every
one state is
different.
the same size of this country.
Yeah, like California is like way stricter than like other areas of the West Coast, but where I live, it's kind of relaxed, but everyone, for the most part, still follows the rules. But now that, because of all these other events such as the protests and stuff, it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's like half of the people I see either still obey the rules or just don't even wear masks and like neglect any form of social distancing.
Oh really? So there are
Yeah.
actually people sane that realize, you know, this isn't a joke.
Yeah. Like the only, like, I feel like actually the only means of sort of regulated areas, which is like, you know, businesses and stores and
Yeah,
all that other
like,
stuff.
they do.
Like that's like the only, like, and not the actual fact that it's a pandemic and we should all be very conscious about like our health because people just don't give a fuck, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the only thing forcing other people to wear masks for the most part. What do you think is like how far should a government like go when it comes to this like restricting its citizens and whatnot?
To be fair to him, and I know loads of people because he's like the Donald Trump of the UK, and there's so many, and I won't get into the whole politics thing of who is good and not, but to be fair to him, Boris Johnson has done really well for the country in terms of the lockdown thing. I, in my opinion, don't agree with what he's doing now with the whole lifting and allowing people to go outside now, because to put it into context, yes, you can go and meet people and go and social as long as you're social distancing, and we'll put that in quotations because I'll show you a picture I took of the beach again, funnily enough, this Saturday, and it was packed, no one social distancing, and guess what, the police were there, and what were they doing about it? Nothing. They were sat in their van eating an ice cream.
Nice.
So another massive thing that happened in the UK because of all this. Obviously, businesses had to shut down for a long time, especially pubs. They're not even open yet. So if you want a pint, got to drink at home, boys. That's where the alcoholism starts. But yeah, there's you might have heard of it. It's called furlough. And what it meant was, oh, you haven't? Well, I'm about to talk about it. So, for your weight, if a company won't be able to make money over the lockdown, so like telecommunications companies, they were making money over people paying their bills, stuff like that. If a company, so let's say pubs, restaurants and that, couldn't afford to pay their workers, they could claim off the government the furlough scheme. And personally, in my job, I wasn't affected by this because I worked for a company that could make money over the lockdown and had to do multiple things. But unfortunately, and they weren't meant to, many jobs fired people because the furlough scheme, before I mentioned about the firing people, you basically got a percentage of your wages, and the wages were paid by the government instead of your employer. Do you get what I mean? And the government completely overboarded this, by the way. They didn't realise how much money they would have to give, because I think they're in something ridiculous, like in the billions now in debt.
Jeez.
But yeah, because the furlough scheme was only meant for companies that couldn't pay for your wages. Many companies, especially there's a famous pub here in the UK called Wetherspoons. And it's like a pub and restaurant thing. You can go and get like a burger, and you can also get like a pint. The owner of it basically blatantly said, until the government give me the furlough money, I will not be paying my staff.
What?
With this, he also mentioned to many people that he was gonna fire them. And obviously many staff came out in outrage, and also many private companies, and it's mainly the ones that are lesser known. So like Wetherspoons is a really big brand here in the UK, but like we have not a famous restaurant, but like a posh restaurant. It's quite expensive, and I'm going to talk about a friend's experience here. Let's call him Simon. But basically he got a job with him. He was like a waiter / cook, and also he handed out like free pallets and advertised the company in the town centre. Well, basically, because furlough the money, and it costs money to keep... remember, furlough was only meant for companies that couldn't pay. If the company could pay, they're going to lose money without making any. So the company just decided to fire him. You're not meant to be able to do this. What I was going to ask is, did anything like that happen in the US? Did many jobs fire people, or did businesses even close down or anything like that?
Oh yeah, like many businesses closed down, except for obviously the essentials. Yeah, like just recently they started opening up more businesses, like the barber and the mall and everything. But I went to the mall a couple times, and some places like require you to wear masks when you get in. Some places, like in all places actually, there's only a certain amount of people that can go in. So like in the mall, you just see like these just lines of people just waiting to just get into these shops.
But yeah, so now you can go and get stuff because many have had to implement policies. So at my current store, again, not going to mention any names, we now have, if you come into the store, you have to hand sanitize, you have to book an appointment, and then you can come and I'll serve you. We also have like these massive perspex sheets what I have to stand behind, and we have these we have to disinfect the table and all that before we can even be allowed to bring mention a customer to come over and sit down.
Well, as mentioned before, like more non-essential businesses are starting to open up. Everyone's kind of being more relaxed about the restrictions. Because in America we have these zones, so it could be like a I think they put it in colors. Like a yellow zone is like less infected than like an orange zone and whatnot, you know?
Oh, so
And some,
like,
yeah, so
like a heat map.
yeah, kind of. So some zones are obviously being less infected, which is kind of weird since the corona cases are rising because of kind of like the ignorance of other people and obviously like, the protests and all that stuff. Not saying the protests are fucking done by ignorant people, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, obviously like the 6 feet thing or 2 meters or whatever the hell is still like implemented, and like obviously like it's recommended to wear a mask. Obviously it's not like required, but it's heavily recommended. Some stores still, like some restaurants are actually opening up dining in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they obviously it's only just a select amount of customers, and they section off the tables, so you can only dine like 2 tables away from another customer, you know?
Yeah.
The most the stores really do is just like, all you have to do is quote unquote maintain social distancing, but that doesn't really apply since everyone can like come in. There's not really a specific amount of people, so social distancing is pretty difficult regardless. And most stores have set up this like direction system, so like there'll be arrows in certain aisles being like, you can only go here and you cannot enter here. No one fucking follows that. Not even I follow that because I'm just like, I'm not walking a whole ass aisle.
Yeah, we have that over here. Some shops make sure you follow that, but a lot of the time they're just like that they have the circles or whatever, the arrows. They'll have them there, but I don't want to walk through every aisle just to go get a drink. Oh, I'm about to go to work. Oh yes, I'll walk through the meat section, the veggie section, the bread section, the dessert section, all the way to get a bottle of water. Yeah, definitely.
Honestly.
And then you got to walk around all the way back just to go to the register. Yeah, no, sorry. Since us two are young, I was thinking we could explain the college and college and university over here. You lot, it would be
just high school.
High school
for me.
Yeah, high school, and then college after that, or university after that. So how is college and classes and stuff done over lockdown?
I mean, it was pretty abrupt. Like, one day we were all going to class and fucking everything was good, and all of a sudden, like, schools were just shut down. And it was supposed to be like only for a few weeks, and then it turned into a month, and then now we are in summer break. And hopefully, I really hope that schools open up by the time like the school year comes around again, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because like I didn't really realize how, because some people are like, oh, I wish I was in online school, it'd be so much easier. No, I wish I was in regular school. Fuck this online shit. Like, it really sucks.
Yeah. And don't you all still have to do your exams as well?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. Well, I'm already done with my exams because obviously I'm on break. But, when I did have to do my exams, I didn't really have to worry about much. Some teachers even just kind of shifted to projects because that's, I guess, harder to quote unquote like cheat rather than
exams, because you can always see
exams.
the answers.
Yeah, which I obviously did because fuck that. But
just
I remember just because if you go and take online classes, like a school that is meant for online, like the work is easy, you know, it's not overwhelming. Yeah, but from transferring to an actual like school building, you know, with where you have to actually attend classes and whatnot, and transferring all that to online, it's just, the work's just so overwhelming, and I don't think teachers really realized that at first. So they were and like a typical high school student takes like 8 classes, you know, so for them to just shove in just a regular school's amount of work online, it just doesn't transfer well, and it just overwhelms and stresses out the student. Because I sure as hell was. How about you?
So with exams and everything, and schoolwork, it got really, college work, it got really confusing. So we get given a predicted grade by our teachers, and then they go in for our A-level grade. And so we never did exams basically. But the only thing with that is we've now lost a year, not a year, but like nearly, well, will be a year soon. Nearly a year's worth of education that we aren't gonna get
Honestly.
back.
Yeah. So they essentially just cancelled school and didn't really transfer.
Yeah. 3-4 months. Completely gone. With online
Jeez.
classes, yes, we can learn that stuff, but because you're not in that environment where you're completely concentrating, remember, you're at home, you've got things to distract you all the time, and yeah, they can make the argument,
for sure.
well, you should have got rid of those distractions. No teenager is gonna do that. No teenager is gonna go,
There's like
I'm gonna put my Xbox downstairs.
Fucking teenagers have like fucking teenagers like have no sense for the most part have no sense of like self-discipline or like
I can openly say for about 2 months of the lockdown, I did no coursework. I didn't even log on to my school email. You lot had a graduation, didn't you? How did that whole shit happen?
The year above me also, like, class of 2020, they were graduating, and it was mostly through like a Zoom kind of live stream kind of thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was weird. I went on the live stream of one of my friends who was graduating this year, and there were a lot of people who fucking viewed it. It was like 1,000.
Not bad.
But
gotta get that monetization.
Something like that, even though there were no ads.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, filled with like the cringy fucking speeches from government and whatnot, and the principal and all that other shit. But so there was that, and then there was also like this like graduation drive-through thing where students would essentially just get in their cars and drive to their high school to get their actual like diplomas and whatnot, and they would also just park in the parking lots and just hang out with their friends and shit. So I mean, even though it wasn't like an actual graduation, there was at least some way that people could hang out with their friends and all that other shit. And prom was also open for some schools after like the graduation thing. So some people
that? Just have giant broomsticks that hold that of a person.
I don't know how that works. I haven't really looked into it because I could care less about fucking school dances. But yeah. On that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, the first episode. We're just going to be doing this as a casual thing. We're just going to be talking about whatever the hell we want. So if you guys enjoy, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Follow us on... do you have social media?
Yeah. I have Twitter and obviously my YouTube channel. All of our links will be in the description below and also on the feature channels. Yeah,
follow us on social media. I have Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Album of the Year, all the good shit.
She's on everything basically, and I'm on Twitter and YouTube, so do not contact me on anything.
Oh my goodness. Alright, yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye bye guys.